Hi everybody, let's talk about your definition paper. I felt it was appropriate to give you the definition of a definition paper. So it is exploring a subject by applying personal interpretation of a word, proposing a revision of a commonly accepted meaning of a word, or to analyze a word that represents a complex or controversial idea. Sometimes we call this paper the what is blank paper. So to brainstorm for this paper, you could at the top write what is and then fill in the blank. That blank needs to be some kind of abstract, complex idea. And we'll talk about some examples here in a little bit. Your goal here is to explain what something is and is not, by identifying the class the term belongs to and characteristics that set it apart from other similar ideas. Why would we use definition? Well, typically to show that we understand complex ideas. Many times in higher education, we use these in short answer questions. What is the theory of the Oedipus complex? So these are very complex ideas, and teachers are asking students, do you understand what these ideas mean? So we're thinking big ideas. So we want something complex, controversial. Now, the reason that I choose definition last is because there's not really a way to organize a definition paper. You will use definition as the frame, but then it may be a narrative definition paper. So you tell us the story about how you came to understand what this word really means. Or it could be compare contrast. Here is how we have used the term in the past, and here's how we use it now. So you'll have to decide if you're going to write a description definition paper, an example where you give me 3 reasons or 3 main points, maybe 3 ways you define this term, or 3 examples of where you've seen your definition. Also, cause effect. This is what caused me to understand this new way of defining this term. And compare contrast are some ways that you can write a definition paper. Think about what you're qualified to define. What knowledge do you have of a difficult, complex, abstract idea? It can be a concept, it can be an object, it can be a type of person, a type of place, an event, a controversial idea. Any of these are fine. What you cannot write about is something that I can touch. So please don't do what is a dog. You could do what is companionship, what is loyalty, what is friendship. Those are aspects of a dog, and I might use my dog as an example of that. But don't write your paper on what is a dog. You want to make sure you keep a consistent tone about your subject. The most famous example of a definition paper topic is what is love? Besides a really great old song. You need to decide what your tone or your attitude about the subject is and keep it consistent. So you don't want to give me 2 paragraphs that are love is wonderful and sweet and oh so ooey gooey, and then your last paragraph is about how love sucks. That doesn't make sense, right? You want to be consistent in your tone about your topic throughout. So decide what your attitude is about your topic. Then you need to brainstorm different ways to explain your topic. So, I need at least 3. So how can I break my my discussion of my topic into 3 parts or more? So I could give 3 reasons and do example. I could do cause effect and talk about, these are 3 things that happened that led me to understand the meaning of this word in a particular way. Do not tell me what a dictionary definition of this word is. That is not what we want. The only reason you should do that is because you are contrasting it. So this is the way we typically think of this word, but I'm going to tell you why we should think of it this way. So that would be the only reason you should use a dictionary definition. Please do not start your introduction with Webster's Dictionary defines this term as. No. Unless it's serving a purpose in your paper, please don't give us that. First of all, formal definitions typically are really boring. So that is not an exciting way to start a paper. That will not earn you introduction points. Okay, so be thinking about that. The thesis of this paper needs to also show not just what your definition is, but also how will you define it. So, that 3 events in my life led me to understand that love is a verb. Okay, so I've given you the pattern of development and what my definition is. Okay, say what you're defining and don't forget your so what. Why do we care? All right. Because so many people see love as a feeling, but it's really something we do. And so, I'm comparing and contrasting maybe those 2 ideas, or I'm doing process. Here's how I got to this understanding. Whatever it is, your thesis needs to tell us what pattern you're following. So, example, cause, effect, process, whatever. What your definition of the word is, and why we care. So, make sure you have all of that. I've given you some page numbers. Also, when you refer to a word because you're going to define it, you do something different grammatically to that to make it clear to your reader that you are defining the word. Make sure you understand what that is you need to do. And also, how do you write a good definition? So you do need to go through your textbook chapter on definition. Make sure you're looking through the chapter, because it has some really good discussion about how to define a word. Sometimes we can define a word by what it is not. So that could also be one of your points that you make is, love is also related to affection, but affection is different than love. So I could talk about how these are 2 similar ideas, but also how they're different. There's a really good example one on the celebrity chef, so feel free to take a look at that. Okay, some ideas. So some topic ideas, you're welcome to use these. What does the pursuit of happiness mean? This is a great Will Smith movie. What does that term even mean? Religion has lots of great abstract, complex terms. So things like, what does faith mean? Gender terms are great. Lots of popular culture terms are great for definition papers. So you can see some of the examples. Also, politics and government are full of these abstract, complex ideas. Be careful when you're writing about politics that you're being logical, because biased writing is not good writing. So, make sure that you're doing a good job of being academic about it. And then one other one I'll throw out there, think of words you know from another language. How do they translate to English? What's lost in translation between a different language and ours, or in the English language, or any other language? Any of those would work. So there's some ideas for you. And then to brainstorm, I strongly suggest you create an outline of what your points are going to be for explaining this topic. One of the keys to this paper is that it is very specific. So give me specific examples from your life, from life. Pull that description lesson and be sure to show us instead of just telling us. Okay? Don't forget to so what, and let me know if you need any help. All right, have a good one.